Welcome back to the Combat Maquina podcast. Today we're with our special guest, Amber Pope.
Hello,
from Strike Fitness in Los Banos, and I'm honored to be here today because we're not just talking to Amber Pope that owns Strike Fitness. We're talking to a 5-time Muay Thai world champion here, so that is leading this next generation of champions in Muay Thai. And thank you so much for being
Very
here.
welcome. I'm excited to be here.
So everybody knows El Guapo Esteban's with us today to chime in on any questions that he might have for Amber too. So thank you for coming. Let's start off with 5 world titles. Well, the experience of that. Where were most of your world titles won?
To correct, it's not 5 world titles. I'm a 5-time champion.
5-time champion?
1 world title.
1 world title.
Yeah. So basically, my fight career, I fought some in California, Vegas. Went to Thailand twice.
Yeah.
I fought for Team USA twice. So
the Thailand experience. I'm a Central Valley boy. I'm hardcore from this dirt, So I've traveled a little bit, but nowhere like Thailand. How is the fight culture? And
which one? As
a fighter, if you can share that with us.
What was that like?
it was an amazing experience. So the first year I went, we got to train at Fairtex camp in Bangli, and then and we trained there for about a week, and then we went over to Bangkok, and then the tournament goes for about 7 to 10 days, and then you're just so busy with that you don't get to experience Thailand the way you want to. Like I wanted to go to the beach and stuff. Actually, I started really late. I was 30 when I competed.
That's badass, because when I got into fighting, I was like 31, so I started late too.
I think I started fighting when I was 27-ish.
Really? Did you play any sports before that?
Growing up, I played sports. I played volleyball, basketball, softball.
So you were an athlete, but nothing like fighting.
But nothing like fighting. I did karate for like 6 months, and it just wasn't for me.
Did they teach you front kicks in karate?
All I remember is the horse stance, right? Like sitting in that horse stance and punching from your chest.
I did karate too, but then every time I get in a fight, I didn't use no karate.
That's really what I remember from the 6 months of karate. And my dad was a karate instructor, and he did a little bit of a competition with karate sparring and stuff. So that's like the most I was around it growing up. It wasn't until later in life. It was kind of when Muay Thai first hit the U.S. that I kind of joined it and found it.
Nice. So you've seen the Muay Thai community in this area just. Oh my God! In this last probably 5 years, I want to say I've seen it go. I mean, the mainstream now is one championship is definitely bringing our attention. Before, pride was the thing in Japan, but now one championship, man. The 4-ounce Muay Thai, I think that's savage. I love it.
It's definitely grown a lot, and then you have the different. The different disciplines, because, Muay Thai California is different than Muay Thai in the rest of the U.S. It's different than Muay Thai internationally. So you really have to understand where you're going. Like when I fought, I didn't care about the rules, right? I just got in there and fought. Like I didn't pay attention to the rules.
I'm like that right now. I'm like that right now, girl.
I just did what my coach said and got in there and fought. I never paid attention to the rules until I started coaching. And then I really realized how different California versus other states versus internationally is.
We've talked about that before. Yeah. About how much politicking there is and the change of rules, and there's big differences.
It's a lot.
And from your experience, why do you think that the differences are implemented the way they are?
I think a lot of it has to do with the state commissions and what they're going to allow and so forth. I think it has to do with the sanctioning bodies and how they're pushing onto those commissions and so forth. But I think that has a lot to do with it.
So it's their protocols?
Yeah.
So would it be safe to say if their protocols are lazy, then what you're going to get is a result of, maybe some sloppy Muay Thai or Muay Thai rules or.
Definitely, because I think there's some times where it's a Muay Thai fight, but the person that wins does more MMA stuff than they do Muay Thai.
That's us.
Right? So just understanding kind of what's legal, what's not, in different bodies, it's a lot. I didn't realize that when I was
so
fighting.
much that I just wait till the room meeting.
Yeah, but even in the room meeting, they don't address everything.
No, and we'll touch on this later. That there is like certain things that if you say it's an exhibition, there is state protocol that you have to follow in order to regulate that as an exhibition, as compared to a full contact,
yes,
as opposed to a PMT. So like,
but I don't know. You see some of those PMTs and they look like amateur fights. So, I've seen it both ways. I've seen where people do really well in that technical environment, but then I've also seen it to where they don't control it enough to where it's almost an amateur fight. And I feel like there's a lot of coaches and fighters that go into them like they're an amateur fight. It's not going in saying, okay, this is technical work, right? This is to build your development.
Yes.
And I'm not saying all of them. I've seen it both ways. But, if you have a knockout in semi-contact, then obviously you're not controlling that to the point that you should.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's one of the things I think, because I started off with adults, Johnny, who'll be 18 here pretty soon, making his debut. He was my first child that I coached. So then when we'd go to like PMTs and stuff, it was like I had one student. So here we are, the nobodies.
Yeah.
And then I don't know the rules. I just know that there's going to be a fight, and you'll let us throw hands and kicks, and I heard knees.
And you know as well as I do, being a new fighter, a lot of them don't have that control just yet, right? Because they're just going in, they have their nerves, they have the adrenaline going, and all they know is they're going into a fight.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's something that is even more important to have that development side.
Yeah,
right?
well, it's almost to a point now where I think that if you want to compete, and I've told these guys before, is you got to love training. If you're not training, you're not putting in the mat time, I don't suggest you compete.
No.
And because like me, I'm so small, we're this small little, corner, hole in the wall little shop that I want to always be sure that what I put out there, win, lose, or draw, is going to look like someone that trains their butts off.
Yes.
And my daughter's first PMT was against one of your guys' fighters. She had never fought Muay Thai. She didn't, So I was like, hey, figure it out. If they tell you not to do it, don't do it.
Well, I think it comes to a certain point, because even me, like when I first started PMTs in that semi-contact, I don't want to just say PMTs because, there's different people that do semi-contact. We didn't really know what to expect either, right? But I train my kids very controlled. So like we do 20% technical sparring. We do hard sparring when I feel like we need to. But a lot of ours is just that control. And so when we started going to PMTs, it gave them the opportunity to show that control. But then their opponent, right,
just letting loose and getting crazy,
would go crazy and go loose. Right. So it does come to the point where you're like, you got to treat it like a fight. Well, yeah. So give them what they give you. If they tell you to take it down, take it down. But I'm a pretty good coach that I'll tell them, like, no, if I see that they're kind of not at the same level, my kids, like, I'll tell them, take it down. I've even told them, go straight defense, right? Where don't even hit, just go defense.
Yeah, we haven't done enough for me to say that. Like really, the way I kind of train, and it's different. It's unconventional. It's part of what makes our brand different is that I almost prepare everybody just to be elite. If you're going to compete, just compete to be elite.
And I train everybody in my gym that way. Whether you compete or not, whether you ever fight or not,
nice.
Like you're here to learn a skill.
Yes.
Right. So whether it's fitness, whether it's
my responsibility to teach you that skill effectively and efficiently.
Yes. So I'm like that even with just my everyday people. Right.
I love that, Mom. But see, I think that's why from the first time we met, I think we've always vibed because there was something there. So now getting a chance to sit down and talk to you, it's like it's all coming out. It's like, no, because I feel the same way. I'm not, My brand, that is me. I didn't get that from anybody. We created that. He did the TM logo. I did the FAF logo. You know, it's who we are. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to share that and convey it on this platform, then I want to make sure that I'm doing the best job possible that I can do, because that is going to reflect on me. It's going to reflect on him. It's going to reflect on everybody. You know,
and so, I want people to walk out of there like I am a firm believer that everybody should have some form of self-defense. Right? Whether you ever compete, fight, whatever, with the way things are on the street and so forth, I'm just a firm believer in that.
The way attitudes, behavior, and dialogue is now with teenagers and young adults, it's like everybody wants to catch a click, you know, and everything's about, you know, look at me. So you're going to get a lot of button pushing. You're going to get a lot of testing. You're going to get a lot of, you know, adversity when you don't even have to involve yourself in it. It's out there.
Yeah.
You know?
And I actually didn't start with Muay Thai. My martial arts started with Krav Maga.
Nice.
So I came out of a bad marriage, and I had a 5-year-old, and I was on my own for the first time. And I had this fear inside of me that I couldn't take care of myself and I couldn't take care of him. And so, I found Krav Maga, and I did Krav Maga for a year before I even did Muay Thai. And I'm certified to teach up to level 3 in Krav Maga now. And, you know, Muay Thai just kind of fell in my lap, and it wasn't anything I was looking for to get into the ring and fight. It was just something
that happened.
Yeah, that I needed to get control of.
Yeah.
So you have one world title. Where was that world title?
That was actually here in California. It was in Richmond. It was for the IKF.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you fought a lot with the IKF. You've had a lot of experience.
I did. I fought a lot of IKF. I fought a lot in Vegas with Master Toddy days. I don't know if you guys remember Master Toddy when he had his gym in Vegas. But I fought there a lot. It was kind of all spread out, but majority of it was Vegas or California.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's definitely, like we talked about it a little bit, you know, as a coach, like there's things that I believe every student should have, and we talked about it. For me, it's definitely the mindset. I attack the mind first. I sharpen the mind first, because I believe from there, you know, if the will is there, the mind is there, the tools are not that far away. You know, they can refine that. You know, from being, you know, experiencing success in the combat level, being a woman, right, in a man's world, in the combat world, which I think is fucking awesome. You know, I got to say that. Kudos to you, right? Is what are some of the principles that you just, you know, you don't waver. I need to teach my student at least this stuff, right?
Yeah, you know, that started way before fighting for me. In my career, so my career is accounting, IT, and operations, and I was in the construction. I've been in the Ford and GM distributor. So almost every job I've had has been a male industry. So I kind of already was dealing with the male industry and the female thing. So fighting wasn't anything new to me as far as coming in and being a female.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's almost like you were set up. This is fate. This is supposed to happen. Yeah.
And, you know, I'm just one of those people that I'm going to charge forward no matter what. So,
absolutely.
You know, you could be off to the side, you could hate, you could do what you got to do.
You're going to do you at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's what it comes down to.
So as a young combat athlete coming up, what are the most valuable or best pieces of advice you can give to a kid out there that's starting their journey in combat sports?
Don't give up. Don't stop.
It's simple, huh?
Yeah.
And we talked about that a little bit, is that, you know, we seem to always want to complicate things. The world complicates things, but, you know, life in general, it's simple. It's
there's only obstacles if you allow them.
If you create them.
Right.
If you create, there's things that is what that is. It's not an obstacle. It just is what that is.
Yeah, and you just got to go right through it.
Yep. Yep.
Right. And sometimes it works out the way you want it. Sometimes it works out better. Sometimes it doesn't, but then it turns around to be something even bigger.
That's one of the things that I love about combat, though, is, and I'll even say this, is that, setbacks, lessons, even failures right around the corner all the time. So, you have to become numb to that, because it's, I always tell these guys, it's not a loss, it's a lesson. It's only a loss if you quit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you're going to fail many times before you succeed, right? I actually got lucky in fighting. I never lost in the U.S. My only loss was in Thailand. And, again, that's a whole different stage. That's a different world, right? Man. Different world, different rules. Tournament fighting is very different than your just regular cards.
How many times in one day did you get to fight?
In Thailand, you only fought once a day, and if you won, you moved on.
Okay.
And it like over there, there's like fights. Like what I hear is that there's fights every weekend. There's there's always an opportunity.
But even in Thailand, you have different stages, different levels of Muay Thai.
And it starts off a lot like play. Yeah, and that's kind of what we do here. We call it tech sparring, but it's this playful back and forth.
That's where you learn
this fluid back and forth. Because there's one thing that our style is it's abrasive. It's aggressive. It's very attacking from everywhere. But if we do it right, it should be smooth, transitional, graceful. Beautiful violence.
My coach, I learned my control. So I come from Combat Sports Academy under Kieran Fitzgibbons. And when he first started his fight team, there was about 5 of us that were his guinea pigs. And we always make fun of it because all of us were older. We were all approaching that 30. We were all overweight, and we always make fun of it because we're like, here we are,
Oh, ragtag boy. That's us, girl. Don't trip. It's the origins, and I think that's the origins are they're different, but they're the same.
Yeah.
It's like that's what I always say is like we're just a motley crew.
And we were really his guinea pigs.
Yeah.
I mean, he even went on a podcast. I think it was Joe Rogan, and he said that he would never put current fighters through what he put us through. And we were his guinea pigs. And we kind of came out of the gate. Nobody knew who we were, just like you're talking about. And we started winning. Like we started winning almost everything. And there was only like 5 of us on the team at first. And that was even before he created Combat Sports Academy. And, while we were fighting, that's when CSA was born in Dublin. And he's done amazing since, so he learned, kind of like you guys were talking about how you grew up together and you learned together, right? Yeah. It was the same thing with us. Like we had never trained, fought. He did Krav Maga, he's coached and stuff, but he never had a fight team before that. So we kind of all grew together.
Nice. Yeah. Honestly, I believe that's what we're supposed to do as humans. We're supposed to feed off of each other. We're supposed to create momentum within each other. That's why I think at the Fight Culture Awards a couple weeks ago, man, I just sat in the back and I was just watched everything, and I was just, there was this joy.
Yes.
To see, just barriers breaking down and just everybody being about everybody in the moment right there. And that was something beautiful. It was something that I told Marissa, as a coach and a mentor, and having anything to do with her, it just filled me with joy. So much so that I didn't want to fucking take pictures. I just wanted to just soak in the moment, be present in that moment. And I thought to myself when we talked about it, and I said, that's what we're here to do.
Yes.
Is we're here to grow this. And it's not necessarily just the combat or the violence, it's the humanity. It's the universal approach to caring about each other.
Yeah.
And being okay. There's enough winning in this world that everybody can win.
Yeah. It's so interesting to me to see the different atmospheres that happen, right? Because you have Muay Thai, which is very traditional, very respectful, right? And then you have the MMA, and then you have the boxing, and there is just different mentalities between the 3.
I'm still learning. That's one of the things when we came in. I told Marissa when she was going to help us with our media and stuff. I said, I'm kind of trying to create something that hasn't really been created. I said these guys don't have a boxing instructor. They have a fighting coach, and that's it. And whether we take it to the boxing realm, we take it to the Muay Thai realm, we take it to the MMA, I almost want this universal approach, because at the end of the day, if you're a fighter in one, you can be a fighter in the other. Yes, you have to work and you got to polish techniques, and that's what my daughter's learning about boxing.
Right, and you have to change some things around, but some things work and some things don't, and you just have to find the common balance.
And that process for me, it's just so addictive and obsessive to be able to refine not only your approach and your thinking, but somebody else's as well. And then they get to execute it, and then it just becomes this big, human connector. And that's one of the things I felt, watching your kiddos walk up, Eliana and them. That was so freaking cute. Thank you.
Thank
that
you.
was the best speech
You're lucky
of the
you got
night.
that.
I thought it was cute because even when she got kind of like caught up and lost in the moment, the first thing she saw was her coach, and she just beeline towards her coach.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's what we're there for. We're there to guide.
I've been training Eliana since she was 5, and she just turned 10, and she has such a future ahead of her. And she's so excited this year because she gets to go to nationals this year, because you have to be 10 to go to nationals. And this is what she's been waiting for. So
for 5 years.
Yeah,
Woo!
she is so excited for this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, and you have also, we talked about your one of your young fighters, David Barreras, who went to Worlds, correct? And that's another thing that I think I should shed light on. You're the first female USA coach, correct?
As far as the USA team?
As a USA team?
I don't know that I'm the first. I think I'm close to it. I don't know if I'm the first, though, because maybe Vanessa and me were together. I don't know the answer to that.
You can take credit for that.
I don't know the answer to that.
We're here to talk about you and celebrate you, bro. You're a badass. She's the first Muay Thai Team USA female coach that went to Worlds. You're doing it. It's. I think. In this. So I dabble in everything. I've pissed people off and everything, right? But the reality is I'm just trying to find the universality of everything. And you're right. It's the Muay Thai community is different than the boxing community is different than the MMA. I think we got into MMA because it's still developing, and you could be kind of rogue.
And you have a bigger road there, right?
Yeah. Well,
because that's still bigger than Muay Thai. Boxing is still bigger
honestly,
than Muay Thai.
If you come from an eccentric place like me, MMA, well, that fits. I can still kind of find my niche in that area. But dabbling in these other combat sports has definitely humbled me and has just almost basically made me more of a student of life. You know what I'm saying? Definitely what you're doing is something, is nothing short of amazing.
Thank you.
So from and especially in a small, Central Valley town like Los Banos. I grew up in Patterson. I ball against Los Banos. It's one of those things where I believe I've always told Marissa this is I told her there's a lot of elite talent here. We just have to be patient and develop it.
Yes.
And then create environments and events, which will bring me to my next question, right? To continue to bring us together.
Yes.
So that opens up the next question, because not only are you a business owner, are you a Muay Thai champion, do you coach champions, right? Awesome things in youth Muay Thai, but you started, you helped start out a sanctioning body, correct?
For semi-contact.
Yeah,
so it was really important for me to get my kids outside of California because, again, Muay Thai is so different when you go outside of California. So we started traveling a lot. And, we probably travel more than we fight here in California. And I was trying to work with some sanctioning bodies, but I was getting ignored. And again,
I know all about that, Mom. We got to go to Washington and Oregon for fights, you know?
Yeah.
No, it's all good. I
wanted to do was start doing some fundraising for the kids, because I knew with traveling, costs go really high. And if you think about it, unlike school sports where it's a season, right? They're doing this all year.
Yeah.
So it becomes even more important to help them. So my goal was to start fundraising by having events. And I had reached out to a couple of the sanctioning bodies here in California, and I kind of just got ignored. I got pushed to the side. So about a year after trying to do that, I said, you know what? Again, if you don't have it, build it.
Yeah, do it yourself, yeah.
And so what I did was I brought in Pete Peterson from TBAs, and we had a group of parents, basically parents or people that trained at my gym that were really interested in Muay Thai, and they all certified as officials. And then we created Combat Sports Boosters, and we decided to do our own, and it's a nonprofit. So unlike other semi-contacts where none of them are nonprofit, all the money goes back to the fighters. And so we created this nonprofit, and we started having events. I think we had 3 last year, and we're getting ready to plan our 4th one now. And basically I open up applications, and people can apply for funds, and they go through the directors, and they get voted on, and then we get to give funds.
It's about
or
the kids,
adults.
yeah.
It doesn't have to just be kids.
The
But
development of fresh fighters.
yes.
No, that's beautiful.
Yes, and to help them with their journey, right?
Well, to give them kind of like you were talking earlier about the semi-contact and the PMTs, to get them that mat time, to get them that experience. It's something that bouncing around, I've struggled with, is trying to get my youth fighters fights,
Yes.
where we'll go all the way down to Temecula, or we'll take matches in different sports just to get a match, just to get some matches.
Just to get some experience, right?
Some
Because it all
experience,
comes down to experience.
And that's what I learned with Johnny, my first amateur fighter. It started to get involved in like the politics. I started to see the politics of it, where we're willing to take anybody. Just we don't care. We just want to practice. Well, I'm not cherry picking. We're not trying. We're just trying to fight. They say the toughest motherfuckers are in Muay Thai, so we want to fight the toughest.
Right.
Because we're going to learn something about ourselves.
Yes.
And it was just so difficult to do. Is you would hit roadblocks where we'll give you this guy, but we won't give you that guy. Why not that guy? Well, that guy's got too many fights. That's why we want him.
Yep.
Nope. So then I started thinking about, well, this is more of like a money thing. Mm-hmm. This is not about developing fighters.
Yes, and so, I could see that in a lot of what happens in the semi-contacts.
Yeah.
So when I first started semi-contacts back in, 2018, I really enjoyed them. They were very technical. They were very down to earth. It was all Muay Thai gyms. So everybody was there for the same thing. They were very good for development. You had refs that were talking to the fighters. You had, it was just more of a open communication. Let's develop. I feel like they've become, like I said, people are walking in like it's an amateur fight now. Instead of just going in for that development, you have more MMA gyms, you have more boxing gyms, not just Muay Thai gyms anymore. And again, that brings a different atmosphere into it, right?
Yeah. So
I think an eye-opener for me was about a year after coaching. So my first couple before the juniors, I had a couple adults. And we decided to go outside California, and I took them to TBAs for the first year. And it was an eye-opener for me because outside California, everybody counts PMTs, right? So I had 2 girls that had like 15 PMTs. They were getting ready for their first amateur fight. I wanted to take them to TBAs, but because of their 15 PMTs, they were Class A. And they were going against like seasoned amateur fighters that had like 30 amateur fights, belts, championships, all of that stuff. And I had to pull them out because I was afraid that they would get hurt, because really they're Class C, but because of these 15 PMTs, outside California, they're considered Class A. So that was a real eye-opener for me. And that's when I started really diving into national and international and California and different sanctioning bodies and different rules. And, at TBAs, if you're Class A, Eliana, she's done elbows the last 2 years and she's only, 9, 10 years old, where you will never get that here. Right. So. Yeah, no.
And just hearing you talk about that, I feel like a dumbass.
Yeah, that's all new. That's all new to us.
That's how thug we are, Ma. It's like the first thing we did.
This is the first time I've ever heard
It's a big controversial.
When these guys started fighting, I took them straight to Reno to King of the Cage.
We immediately
this dude had never been in a fight in his life, and he got in the King of the Cage. He was at a show over at the Silver Legacy with like a state wrestler from Texas, and he did pretty damn good. He broke the guy's nose, So like I threw them directly into the fire, and I thought instead of sitting here trying to find fight, why don't we just go where the fights are?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how. So like talking about all these tiers and levels, I'm like, I didn't even know.
Yeah. Now you have to be really careful, because if I want to go outside California with my fighters, I have to be really careful with what they're doing with semi-contact, because Arizona counts it, Iowa counts it, like a lot of the other sanctioning bodies, they're going to count that as fights. And there's this big controversy whether PMTs should equal fight for fight, 1 for 1, or if like a PMT should be, equivalent, like 2 PMTs are equivalent to 1 amateur fight, right?
Do you think politics plays a role in any of that?
Of course.
Okay, so check it out, right? So just because what you're talking about, I'm wrapping my brain around it, right? Now you understand that every combat sport has tiers, right? So like my daughter just boxed at USA Boxing Regionals. I think it was in November, and she had only had like 2 boxing matches, and they were both against the same girl. And then they threw her in there with some girl that had like 34 fights and was like one in the name. I didn't have a problem with it because I posted the video. I think she chunked her up. I think she won, but like I was okay with that. What happened?
You're good. Keep going.
All right, I was okay with that, because I put the time in. To my kid, and I've mentally prepared her to go in there, whether it be the underdog or against somebody more experienced. But I could see where it's like it takes something away from the development of the kid.
And some it can break.
And some it can break if you don't thoroughly prepare them for that, like I do. I do. Any one of my kiddos that wants to fight, they always say, well, when do you think I can fight, Coach? I can't tell you that. You're going to decide that. And the only way you're going to decide that is with your consistency,
putting in the work,
your work, and it's going to translate. Because here, a lot of times, fighters, my competition fighters, when they go into competition, they didn't come from a camp where they were winning rounds. They were getting smashed, but they were fighting back, and they were staying that dog, because I know that dog's going to translate when you're up against a stranger.
Yes.
So.
Well, that's the hope, right?
Yeah. Well, it's something that like I said, I take great pride in it. In doing that. So it's like I'm learning so much just from being next to you. Like, man, we got to talk more, because I feel like, holy crap, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, well, this is kind of what I felt when I took on the coaching, right? Because again, as a fighter, I didn't pay attention to any of that. I trained and I did what my coach said to do. I never asked or looked up my opponents. Like, Coach said did this, so that's what I'm doing. I never paid attention to any of that stuff. And then, that first year of coaching was like a huge eye-opener for me. And I'm telling you, when I started going outside California, that was even a bigger eye-opening for me.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things that I think, looking back,
you
can tell us, is I think that was beneficial. That immediately I just threw him in deep waters. Yeah. For the way we but you can tell us.
I think for me, for the individual that I am, Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it depends on who you're dealing with, right? Because you know as well as I do as a coach, I might be able to yell at this kid and get something, but I'm not going to yell at this kid and get the same response,
Nope.
right?
Yep.
So this one I got to caress a little bit more, right? I got to talk to a little bit. So you got to learn each of their personalities and what works for them.
So you do. You got to be like a minor in therapy.
That's why they call us counselors, right?
As far as the combat sports boosters, what is your goal moving forward this year?
So my goal for Combat Sports Boosters, right now we're currently in Las Banas, but I would like to extend that outside. And we're kind of talking to some people about collaborating to try to get that outside Las Banas as well. So I want to be able to expand it because, again, it's nonprofit, and I want to be able to give the money back to the fighters, right? And so I think if we do it in different areas, then that area gets those funds.
Yeah, and the
right?
kids that are yeah. So almost collaborating with the gyms that are coming in and bringing their fighters and their students, right? That's badass. Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's my goal for this year. I'm hoping that we have something in the works right now, and I'm really hoping that it works out. I don't want to jinx it just yet, but you might see a big semi-contact show coming.
Yeah, we dates. Last year you had 3 events, and they just didn't line up with some of Miami's. But we're looking forward to it falling into place and us going out. I know also too at Strike Fitness on I think was it the 28th of February. You're having like a sparring.
Yeah, so Only Dads is coming to the gym, and it's not just dads; it's for women, children, and males.
But are they sponsoring it, or?
Yeah, so they're going to come out, and again, I don't know how familiar you are with Only Dads, but they're just a community that wants to get experience out. Right? Let's bring these people together. Let's get them some work, and it's a good time. And the ones that I've been to, they're very controlled. You don't have a lot of issues. Everybody's very respectful, and again, it's a way to grow the community.
No, I think it's one of the things that I've had the biggest problem with because I was a fighter turned businessman turned coach is that I'm horrible at marketing, and I'm super aggressive. So the vibe that I've given out is like we like to kick ass, which we do. But when people actually come in here, there's levels of application, and and I tell guys all the time, it's like, look, man, I could throw a full speed punch and pull it this close from your face. Why? Because I've been doing this
for a long time.
17, 18 years now. Yeah. And where it's more kind of psychologically scary, So I think a lot of times, and then guys come in here, and because we put cardio is really good with machines. Can't be a machine if you run out of gas.
Yes.
So I think the volume sometimes really kind of just scares people. But like trying to develop my own style and curriculum on top of dealing with all of this stuff that you've dealt with.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. A lot. I don't feel that bad now.
No, and I'm a lot like you.
I was like, holy shit, everything that she's saying, I'm like, I don't know none of that.
And I'm a lot like you. I was sparring one of my fitness instructors who also does Muay Thai. I was sparring her not too long ago, and I'm very much in your face. I'm very much busy. I'll take a hit to give 3 hits. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And so I was sparring her, and I could tell she was getting really frustrated, right? And then she goes back and looks at the video, and she comes back and she goes, "Coach, you weren't even hitting me hard." No, it's just the volume, right?
Yeah. Well, and then
I know how to control my punches.
It's oxygen. So basically, what our job is to drown you.
Yeah,
that's our job. Our job is to drown you and to make you feel like you're going to suffocate under this, right? And then take a deep breath, pull yourself back.
Come back.
Because that's what it feels like to be in a fight.
And we've all been there, right? If we're fighters.
Yes.
I had my ass kicked for a long time, and I remember Coach telling me at one time, "You're going to get your ass kicked until you decide you don't want to get your ass kicked anymore." And that kind of resonated with me at that moment. And I remember CSA used to do a lot with Rudy Ott. and we would always co-train. And so every time I went to Rudy's, man, these girls would just beat the crap out of me. And I remember I'd have a bruise like from top to bottom, just leg kicks, right? And so I remember sitting in the parking lot one day and almost crying and being like, oh, am I ready for this? And then coach told me that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get out of this car and they're not going to kick my butt no more. And I went in there and things changed.
And that's a little eerie, right? Because when I got into combat sports, I went to, at that time, Voodoo Fight Club was over in Modesto. Professor Gene Fields, all right? And I walked in, and on the first day I walked in, I remember I was watching the UFC house on TV, and I was unemployed at the time. I was like, these dudes sound like weenies, eh? Like, I could do this, you know? And I walked in, and then we were like doing like some technique or something. I told him, I said, look, man, I want to fight for money. It's like, I don't, you know, this is like, I know I got to get this, but I want to experience what's out there. And I remember the first guy I had was a wrestler, and immediately after I punched him, he took me down, put me like in bully guard. My sons were there. I looked over to my sons as I was getting punched in the head, and I was like, just fuck. You know, and I got up, and I remember when I got up, I wasn't thinking like, hey, how do I learn how to do that?
Yeah.
The first thing I thought was, how do I learn not to let that motherfucker hold me down and let me beat his ass?
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of Maquina combat. That was the beginning of me going, I don't want to wrestle because I'm 31 years old. I never wrestled. I'm not going to get good at wrestling. What I need to do is learn how to neutralize and defend wrestling. So that way I can hit him again, because when I hit him, he didn't like that shit, you know? Yep. So I basically developed my whole style from the other traditional styles that are in mixed martial arts. So, Muay Thai, the striking's heavy, you know, but it's linear. You know, you know, it's developing now.
It is.
It is, and that's awesome. That's the awesome part of combat, is combat will evolve to its environment. It will evolve to the battle, the war, the opponent. It should.
And that's where you take all the pieces, right, and you make them your own.
Yes.
So I trained boxing, I trained Muay Thai, and my coach was really good about putting the Western style boxing with Muay Thai. So I would train boxing individually, I would train his Muay Thai, and even with me today, we put a lot of Western style boxing into our Muay Thai. And it works, right? So I would go to other coaches and train, and I couldn't use everything, but you take the pieces that work for your style, right? And then you go from there.
That's one of the reasons I dub Team Maquina the oppositional brand. Is basically what we want to do is whatever you're good at, we
want to stick with that.
Yeah, well, and then
grow it.
If we can get you out of that strategically.
Grow on it, right? Because like I have, for example, I had 2 adults when I first started, right? One of them, speed, beautiful technique, speed. One of them, very tense and just power, right?
Brawler.
And you don't want to change that. You just want to make it work, right? So you do things differently for this one versus this one, because I don't want to change your style. I just want to give you things that work for your style. Yeah.
So I think a lot of my fighters, I like getting fighters that have never fought.
All of mine have. All of mine are homegrown.
Because I'm attempting to teach them something that honestly hasn't even been done yet.
Yes.
So these guys are like, they're my guinea pigs. You know, I've
also just training with them, people that come from other places and stuff. You see little habits of things that they did in other places where you're like, you look at it from a different perspective. You're like, maybe that's not the most effective thing that they can do in that situation. Yes. But they keep doing it because that's
their style, right? But you want to, and again, I don't want to change your style. I just want to make it better, right? So I'm going to give you those things that work, that make it better. But I'm not going to take this person who's a hard hitter and be like, no, you need to be like this speed over here.
That's a weapon in and of itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. No, as far as your coaching style and technique is undeniable. It works for you as an adult. It works for kids So like the way I
And
look
everybody
at it
I have is homegrown. So I wasn't one of those gyms, other than myself, that started with fighters. You know, there's a lot of gyms that already start with established fighters.
yeah, no, yeah. I've almost seen it to where all my guys, all my fighters are homegrown, but I've had fighters come in here, and just it's a vibe.
It changes
The dynamics of everything.
Yes.
And for me, that's one of the things that I've protected here is the energy.
And I'm a lot like that. And I know that because our team, that's what happened to our team, right? So we had this core group that grew up together. And then all of a sudden you started adding some outside established fighters. And it just changed the whole dynamic.
Well, their energy, if they're not in it for everybody and themselves, if it's not a universal approach to be like, look, I know this is going to be good for me, but I want to be good for my training partner. If it's not that approach, I think what it does is it starts breaking down
everything you built.
the structure of what you've built.
Yes.
So I absolutely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And I defend it here to the point to where, I will. I'll freaking fight if I have to. It's like, this is the way we want to approach it because it's good for everybody.
Yeah, I want that family environment, right? Because that's what saved me, right? It wasn't necessarily the martial arts, it was the people.
It was the connections, yes.
Yeah, right.
That's yeah.
And so that was my goal when I created Strike, was to create that environment in a place that has never seen it before. And because I was in Los Banos and I couldn't get to the gym as much, like I said, I was going into this little bit of depression because it's just so important in my life.
It activates.
Yeah.
That's the thing about combat that people don't realize until they actually get into it. It activates every part of your human. You can't phone something in. You can't fake it till you make it.
No.
You have to live it.
I feel like a leveled up version of myself after training every time.
Oh yeah, no, well, and with great power comes great responsibility. And it's definitely been an awesome journey for me. I love watching I'm the nobody. You were there. You've climbed up. So it's inspirational for me.
It's so funny because I still think I'm the nobody.
Yeah. Oh, hell no. We're still nobodies, but it's, knowing that it's just a workman's kind of approach to it.
I think it's a good mindset to have.
Yeah.
To keep drive and hunger within you.
Yeah, I don't need to be the best out there. I don't need to have the biggest team. I don't need to have the best fighters. I don't need all of that. There's a reason I'm a coach. I like being in the background, right? Like even coming here and talking about myself is like coming out of my shell, right? Because I just don't do that.
Yeah.
And everything's about everybody else. So I try to maintain that family environment in everything we do in the gym. Because you got to think, in my gym, 5% people fight? 95% of them will never fight.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But I don't want to downgrade them because I'm trying to focus on...
everybody should benefit.
Yeah, and they're all going to train the same.
Yeah, I'm a true believer in that. In any whether it's a business exchange, social, everybody should benefit.
Yes.
There should be nobody that's left out. There should be nobody that's forgotten. If there is, I'm doing something wrong.
Yes.
That's it.
And again, my goal was whether you want to fight or not, compete or not, you're going to learn how to fight.
Yeah.
And you're going to have fun doing it.
That's what I usually tell parents when they bring their kids in. I'm like, look, my system's a little different, but at the end of the day, I'm going to teach your child how to defend themselves.
Yes.
I'm going to make them mentally strong, and they're going to absolutely be more confident.
And that's one thing I did with the junior program is, one of the first things I did was create a curriculum. And, Muay Thai doesn't really have levels, but in the curriculum, I made it levels, like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And these are the things, right? And I make my kids test, and they have to test into the next level. And I think it's worked really well. At least
you've had good results with the youth. You can't, like I said, you can't argue that.
I think
you just have to,
the structure.
Yeah.
The structure, having structure, and if you're somebody who's never learned structure before, having to learn that is huge for life.
Yeah.
That's something that I've learned here is just the structure.
It even teaches parents, right?
Yeah.
Because you get parents, and every parent thinks their kid is the greatest, right? Of course you would. You're the parent, right? So, I'll get kids that come in and, the parents will, when they going to be ready? When they that's up to the kid.
That's up to the kid.
Some of them it's a month, some of them 3 months, some of them take a year. Like, it just depends.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's beautiful to see how many things that I completely agree and I see with you eye to eye on, and I look forward to watching your kids grow, watching what you do with Combat Sports Boosters, and I like I said, I applaud you.
Thank you.
And I'm absolutely a supporter.
Thank you.
Right.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for coming in.
I commend both of you guys as coaches. It's a pretty selfless thing to be like, you know what? I'm gonna act as a parent to all of these people.
It's very, because to us it's like
it's exhausting.
That's who we are.
Yeah, I don't think twice about it.
Nope.
And every one of my kids, it's so funny because parents are at home and they tell them to do something and they give them attitude. Well, I'm going to tell your coach. Oh, no, right? And then they go do it, right? And they all tell me that, right? And it's just funny to see how that intertwines.
Yeah, the impact that you have on people.
Yeah.
That comes from a place of love.
Mm-hmm.
And always moving forward. Never give up.
Yep.
So for anybody out there watching this, whether you're female, you're male, whatever age you are, find your strength. And if you need to lean on instructors, mentors, teachers like Amber Pope here, you know where to find her. Los Banos Strike Fitness, Combat Boosters, Sports Boosters coming through with some events soon. Looking forward to what this year has, Mom.
Me too.
So,
me too.
Shout out to my sponsors, Dean's Painting, and obviously La Cultura, Fight Culture, for being everything that you are to us. Thank you guys. Till next time, stay strong.